What seems obvious through watching various religious clips on YouTube is that although a large country, the USA seems to suffer religious fanaticism more so than any European country. Although partly historical, why is religion persisting? What form does religion play in society, and what does religion mean? Well, I think it means domination and control. I also think it means loss of liberty. And theories such as creationism and intelligent design are completely beyond me. So how do you get a mass populace to accept these ideas in the face of irrefutable scientific evidence to the contrary? Why do the populace of some areas of the United States differ from the rest of the world? Well, what seems to be going on is some form of mind control. But how do you control the minds of millions of people? Mass medication? Perhaps. And how do you achieve that? Through drinking water. More specifically, fluoridated water. Despite damning evidence of fluoride toxicity, bureaucracies and multinationals continue to pollute our drinking water and mess with our physical and mental health. At the end of the Second World War, the United States government sent Charles Eliot Perkins, a researcher working in chemistry, biochemistry, physiology and pathology, to take charge of the vast Farben chemical plants in Germany. While there, he was told by the German chemists of a scheme which had been worked out by them during the war and adopted by the German General Staff. This was to control the population in any given area through mass medication of drinking water. In this scheme, sodium fluoride occupied a prominent place. Repeated doses of infinitesimal amounts of fluoride will in time reduce an individual's power to resist domination by slowly poisoning and narcotizing a certain area of the brain, and will thus make him submissive to the will of those who wish to govern him. Both the Germans and the Russians added sodium fluoride to drinking water of prisoners of war to make them stupid and docile. In a book written by Dr. Hans Molenberg of Haarlem, Holland, called Fluoride, The Freedom Fight, the author describes the ultimately successful endeavours to free the Dutch people from water fluoridation. One brief passage is headed Perkins, and a reproduction of that section gives sufficient confirmation by a remote and independent source of the Dickinson statement as printed in Hansard to reinforce the need for additional investigation into one behaviour control aspect of the fluoride debate. In a letter abstracted from Fluoridation and Lawlessness published by the Committee for Mental Health and National Security to the Lee Foundation for Nutritional Research, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on the 2nd of October 1954, a Charles Eliot Perkins, scientist and author of Washington, D.C., and one must assume that the same Charles Eliot Perkinson of the Dickinson statement to the Victorian Parliament, said this: "We are told by fanatical ideologists who are advocating the fluoridation of the water supplies in their country that their purpose is to reduce the incidence of tooth decay in children, and the plausibility of this excuse, plus the gullibility of the public and the cupidity of the public officials, that is responsible for the spread of artificial water fluoridation in this country. However, and I want to make this very definite and positive, the real reason behind water fluoridation is not to benefit children's teeth. If this were the real reason, there are many ways in which it could be done which are much easier, cheaper, and far more effective. The real purpose behind water fluoridation is to reduce the resistance of the masses to domination and control and loss of liberty. When the Nazis under Hitler decided to go into Poland, the German General Staff and the Russian General Staff exchanged scientific and military ideas. Plans and personnel and the scheme of mass control through water medication was seized upon by the Russian communists because it fitted ideally in their plan to communise the world. I say this in all earnestness and sincerity of a scientist who has spent nearly 20 years research into the chemistry, biochemistry, physiology and pathology of fluorine, any person who drinks artificially fluoridated water for a period of 1 year or more will never again be the same person, mentally or physically.